What is good, y'all? SCG game, man. It's your boy SmooveGotGame, or should I say GM Smooth, back here with what I would say is the Angels. But first, we're gonna go ahead and take it down to the Trash Pandas, as we'll be focusing here today, at least on the beginning of the video, mostly on our younger prospects. One of the biggest things about this rebuild is going to be building this team up through the draft. Of course, we're going to use free agency too, but it all starts with knowing what we already have on this team to know what we need to fix and replace. So one of our biggest areas of focus here in scouting has been starting pitchers. So I want to look at some of our young starters on the roster, like Sandy Gaston here, 62 overall, 23 years old. He's got some good starting ratings and actually pitched very, very well here through his first 5 starts. Under 1 ERA, under 1 WHIP. 4 of his 5 starts have been quality starts, and a 2-0 record to go along with that, only giving up 3 earned runs in his outings. He's been great all season. So I know that when the actual development starts to hit, here in month 2 and 3, he's going to see a pretty good boost to his game. Starting out at the 62 overall right now, we want to see how high that C potential could go, because one thing I do kind of fall back on is the C potentials. As soon as I see that thing say below B, I'm really not trying to add you to the roster, really not trying to look at you. Your plans for the team are gone. But C's are still solid starters, solid bench players, so I got to keep those in mind when kind of building up this roster and seeing where they can develop into and taking those characters. And somebody like Sandy here, where we don't know what his C potential is, could be there, because it could still be a high 70, which would put him actually in line to be in the rotation even as a 4 or 5 starter. If not right now as a top 3, is that throw goes over and is not going to get there. But one of the things I noticed about Sandy's game, he doesn't have like an overwhelming fastball, but just really good command of his pitches. And exactly where I wanted to go, while he was fresh at least, that's where the ball was kind of going. I was able to set up his changeup, his 4-seamer. The slider was actually getting a lot of the lefty or righties to go ahead and chase it out of the zone. And he was just really good at getting weak contact. Even the base hit that they got was just off of a short, slow dribbler here. You see the pop up there behind the plate, and he just had great command over his pitches. So we really wanted to just see what the different types of players here that we have here at the minors are going to look like, especially if we're going to add a starter or 2, because I imagine probably drafting 2 starters in this upcoming draft, 1 early, whether that's in the first round or second round, and then probably 1 late. And I don't know if they'll end up being a reliever or not, but that's also something we got to look out for here in the game, where stamina isn't really a high factor for a lot of these pitchers. Some of these guys with only 70 stamina that are starters that aren't maybe good in a long 5-inning game could end up being long relievers, as we might see our first run of the game as this ball is going to get down in the outfield for a base hit. The run comes around, and it's an early run here off Sandy. He's not looking too good. Let's go ahead and lock in really quick. Runners at first and second, 2 outs here. He's trying to work himself out of the jam. Already given up 1 to this point. Already 15 pitches deep, as that was not going to be called in his favor. 1-2 as he gets it right back though with the slider. Watching on strike 3, probably thought he was going to get away with 2 straight calls there. Nope. Ball don't lie. We got to at least get one of them things back, and that started out a good run here of him calming down. Gets a strikeout right after, and then Andrew Pintar coming up with an 0-2 count, chasing the slider again. I told you that slider was a great strikeout pitch. That's 3 in a row. Strikeouts off of just the slider itself. And then the 4-seamer, even though it's not coming in too fast, 95 on that velo, is getting them just to pop it up, just getting underneath it and reading it wrong out of the hand there. So mixing in the changeup, slider, and that 4-seamer really helped out with that. I mean, of course, he still does have the 2-seamer too as well, because he has a 5-pitch mix. So he's got a lot of pitches that move off of that 4-seamer, causing these weak pop-ups here. They're looking for it to drop, dip, and they're kind of reacting to it last minute. See the pop-up here behind the plate. We're getting a lot of weak contact with Sandy. He's really, then, if you want to look at it, they do have him like branched into different categories, flamethrower, ground ball pitcher. He's a contact pitcher, pitch to contact type of pitcher. He's going to get you a lot of in-play fielding outs. So, I mean, that FIP should look pretty good at the end of the year if that ERA isn't. This was going to be a weak little blooper here, throwing it over. Once again, keeping guys off the base pass here. If we go to the bottom of the 4th here, lining this one out to left field. This one's going to be gloved into as well. Still shallow, barely had to move for it. And that's 4 innings solid here of work. As we go into the bottom of the 5th, 1 out, Andrew Pintar up again. Change up, low on the edge, hitting the black, hitting the corners, keeping things out of the middle of the plate here is exactly what we want to see as he goes 5 innings strong, about 5-6 strikeouts here up to this point. And now it's really trying to see what the stamina is going to look like here. This is the next step for our starters. How deep in the ball games can you go when you're actually pitching good? Because it's one thing to, okay, you're giving up a bunch of runs early, we got to get you out. But when you're pitching good, when the shutout's on, you've only given up one, how deep into the ball game are you about to go? And so far, 60 pitches through, starting to look a little bit tired as we get that lazy bloop single. We have Jack Winkler coming up to the plate here. And if I haven't already said so, man, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you guys are enjoying this series, let me know down below what you guys are feeling about it in the comment section. As we're really getting this series kicked off now, I mean, this first season is going to go by pretty quick to really get into the rebuild. But I still want to know what you guys are thinking of, who your guys' favorite prospects are, who you guys are excited to see come up and play big. So we're going to be showing more of the team, more of the roster, those young guys here as we get through this episode. As that ball is going to get out of here. I almost got distracted talking for you guys. I forgot they hit that home run. I couldn't see the last name on that. Nathan Martella. I think that's who the last name that came up there on that screen. There was a lot of different characters in that last name. I'll tell you that much. But long, deep fly ball out to left center field, was able to get it into the bullpen, and they were able to go ahead and pull him after that. That was the end of his day. Leaves with a tie ball game here, 3-3. Was able to go 6 innings though of strong work. He was able to at least finish that up. Now it looks like here they did still get the win, but we tied it up afterwards. So that one's a loss on the bullpen there. As you can see, Kelvin Caceres getting the loss there. But as a team here as a whole, 10 hits, 3 of them coming from Jorge Ruiz, our center fielder, 3 for 4 day for him. Cole Fontella also hit his second home run down here at the AA level or AAA level. But Sandy, 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, 3 earned runs, though, of course, because of that homer that he gave up. Still has the ERA at 1.4, though. Kelvin, though, 2 outs, gave 2 runs that were unearned. And actually, he's the one that caused the error here. As I went up to look to see who caused the error, I saw it was Kelvin. I didn't ring in my head that was the pitcher. I went to look for what position he played. The pitcher caused himself an error that allowed 2 runs to come across. I believe those should be earned runs then at that point. Let me know if I'm tripping. I feel like if you caused the error as the pitcher, they're officially back earned on you because it's your fault. But error caused 2 unearned runs to come in, or really I should say 3, as all 3 of their other runs were unearned. So we really should have won this game. Now looking at the pitch spread here, something we're going to do very often when we're highlighting our starters to see what they're doing. The 4-seamer you see is all over the place. The ones they were hitting left over the middle, but a lot of them sporadic. The changeup, we kept that one to the outsides. Not too many of them missing their spots, especially not in the middle zones. Even getting a strikeout on those, throw it about 15. And then the slider here, if you see, we threw about 13 of those, which it felt like we threw way more, but see all the strikeouts there on the edge, keeping it low in the zone to where they couldn't really get on top of it. And this is where you can really kind of play around and see what different things are doing. Swung on, I don't know how you have swung on being that low, but then strikeout, it added a couple more pitches. But hey, those are the ones they swung on. None of them were solid contact hits. The splitter was even getting guys to get on the ground too as well, or foul it out. So jumping into our next guy here, Caden Dana, who actually is our top prospect listed, 65 overall so far, 21 years old. He's a C potential as well. Not exactly sure what his potential is. I try not to go look. I try to be, not to look at what theirs are because I don't want to touch or mess anything up. But we might try to look to see what these C potentials are, because once again, it could be as low as 72, but it could be 78. So we definitely want to see what he's capable of doing. So far, the season has not been the best for him. 5.11 ERA here in his 8 starts up to this point this season. So it's either really, really good, you see with the goose eggs and zeros, or really bad. But it doesn't seem like he's been able to go past the 6th inning in any of his starts, even when he's doing good. So I wanted to get a look at what his stuff was like here today. And one thing I got to say that I was most impressed about with Caden was actually his break on his pitches. Not the control. The control was a little loose and wild, but his break. The 12-6, if you've been on the channel long enough to hear me talk about it, is probably my most hated pitch to throw, favorite hit pitch to see somebody else have. When I see a 12-6 curveball in your repertoire, especially if it's 1 or 2, and I know I'm about to see a lot of them, I'm getting ready to hit home runs. If I have it in my repertoire, I'm probably not throwing a single one. But, of course, I'm going to test it out. And the reason because when I first started playing MLB The Show, 12-6s, it seemed like if you watched it and timed it right, it was an easy home run every time. The thing just went up and down. It was just really easy to time. But his cadence, the break on it is insane. It snaps down last second. And we're actually getting a lot of swings and misses through it. A lot of strikeouts with it. and a lot of lazy hits with it. Here we have a first pitch of the AB. Look at that, dipping way down into the zone. Obviously didn't get a swing there, but that's not something that you're going to be able to hit or tailor to. Now, the same thing can be said for his slider. As you can see, this one just slide across the plate. Look like it went from inside to the outside corner just that quick. How he didn't swing at that 12-6, I don't know, because that one would have got me. But we come right back with the bender and get him to chase that slider low and away. So he's got two really good pitches that break very well, which I think will bode well for potential strikeouts when he gets up to the majors. And definitely has my eyes wide open to see what his future game could look like. So as we're drafting these starters, just know that we do have a couple of good young arms down here that we can look to really kind of tailor our game to, as you see another strikeout there as well. Bottom of the third here, 1 out Andrew. First pitch that he will see here. Fouls it away. He does have the circle change, slider, 12-6, 4-seam. Only a 4-pitch mix for Daniel, I believe. As he gets a 4-seamer there, and I told you the control was not too good. Left this one up in the zone, and that is a solo home run. So far today, the only runs that we've only seen one run be created. The other 3 have been homers. And that just comes from losing your pitches. No, Sandy had an excuse of being late in his start. Caden here, control. One thing that we have him working on to get better so that he can see his way up, as he is down here at the, I'm trying to remember which levels these are. This is the AA level, so he can work his way up to the AAA level, is getting his control better. Once I see the control get better, once I see the ERA drop, the FIP number drop, and I see him get some actual progress, we can start looking at that move up to AAA, maybe later this season, but it probably won't happen until next season. Probably get a full year here at AA. And remember I said he has never worked past 6. Well, he was able to get 7 strong here before finally getting taken out and replaced by Victor there, as he only gave up that 1 run, that solo home run out to the deepest part of the field, held the team to 3 hits as a whole. We only had 5, but we were able to push across 3 runs thanks to Tucker Flint having 2 of them. And if we just look at his number, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts here today, that 12-6 was absolutely dominant. If we look at his last 40 pitches here, the 4-seamer, you see it's basically kind of all over the place. A lot of them over the middle, but we were getting away with it. That's why we got to work on his control. The slider, you see we're keeping that one away, low. Not really too many on the inside part of the hand, whether it's a righty or away from a lefty. And then 12-6. Look at these, all pretty much staying down. Only 2 got up, and they're both ended up getting taken. So everything for the most part with that 12-6 was down low in the zone, keeping it away from hitters. Even the circle change and cutter, we kept those away from hitters too as well to keep them off balance. And you see it worked out with 10 strikeouts. That's what having crazy amounts of break will do for you. Now, if he gets the control right, that 10 can become a 15 very, very quickly and very, very easily. And then our last pitcher here that we want to take a look at here at the AAA level, Walbert Arena, see potential, 21 years old, 63 overall right now. But it's been a pretty good pitcher for us so far up to this point down here. 4-seamer topping out about 94. Throws the slider, change up a 2-seamer with it. And in just 2 starts, only giving a 1 earned run in 12 innings. So ERA and whip is low, but a very small sample size for these 2 starts. Of course, they're both, just 6 innings apiece and only 1 earned run is given up. But we're going to look to see what makes him so special here today. Is it the break? Is it the control? Well, first thing that I do want to say about him in this game was that he had epic command and just domination over this team in general. I think it's Pensacola. They were not touching his stuff. You see the slider there in on the feet. Gets Ronnie to go ahead and go sit down there with the first out of the game. Then Andrew right behind him. First pitch he sees. It's that 4-seamer low at his knees. You see keeping everything down. And it's right where we need it to be, right on the corners there as we get a little ground ball about to change up. That's an easy walkover. And then 2-2 here to Nathan. He grounds this one on the ground as well. Throw goes over to first base with ease. And they got him. So we jump ahead pretty far on this one to the 5th inning. The reason I wanted to jump ahead to this point here is with 2 outs here in the 5th. So this is basically, 4 2/3 innings of work. We see a 4-seamer get hit here deep out the center field. It's going to be caught. So that's 5 full innings here of, yeah, you see it right, 0. Perfect game ball. Has not even allowed a walk to this point. So we go bottom of the 6th with perfect game watch now in full effect. We get a line drive out to the right field and it's clubbed in. So now we're going to be watching every single out as we get closer and closer to see if maybe he can perform some history down here in the minor leagues. 0-1 here to Jack. Or Joe, as that one's lined out to the outfield, going deep back near the wall. It'll get down just barely fair. That one had a touchdown on the white marker, and it sucks to lose the no-hitter / perfect game on something like that. You would have loved it to be a more clear hit, but that one looked like it was like on the chalk, if anything. Now let's see if we can just get out the inning here, keeping the shutout alive. But yeah, 5 1/3 innings of perfect ball. He had great control of his pitches here today. The break was good. It could be better. It's not on the level of Caden's break, but definitely had a chance here to keep this game shut out. Unfortunately, a slower there at shortstop, and the pros might have been out, but not down here in the minors. They get the first run of the game here across. Andrew's going to come up here now with a chance to extend their little rally here. 0-2 count here. Watches the changeup at the ankles. Great pitch to actually crush, and he just lets it go. So we'll see how much longer then Wahlberg can go. 67 pitches here to this point, and pitch 68 will be out number 1 here in the 7th inning to our center fielder. Troy Johnston will be up next. He will bloop this one out to pretty much the same exact spots and glove it in. And then last but not least here, PJ Morlando, 0-1 pitch. Getting that four-seamer. No one's even going to turn around for it. That's going to be a solo home run. And he gives up a second one here. So 2 runs across after having a perfect game through 5. But still does not take away from the fact that this was a great start. Doubled his runs given up all season, but also pitched about the same amount of innings that he normally would here, trying to get this last out in the 7th. 2-2. Grounded on the ground with a changeup. Leaves it behind. And we still got more innings to play. But I think that you guys can tell where we're kind of going with this. Our starting pitchers actually are going to be something to worry about. These C potentials actually can play. They put up good stats. You can see here from a hitting standpoint, both Nelson and Mack at the top of the lineup, both 3 for 3 or 3 for 5 on the day. So great hitting there at the top of the lineup. We could have just used a little bit more offense, but Rena, Caden, Sandy, we've got 3 decent arms that it could at least be trade bait for maybe some other prospects at other positions if they play good, decent, and upgrade themselves, or they could just be good bullpen arms, rotation arms at the bottom of the rotation. But here with our scouting, we're trying to look for that top of the rotation guy in Reed Gagnon. He's 46th on our overall board, so he slipped off a lot. Main reason there is the home runs per 9 is going to come in at a very low rate and not get much better. So he could be giving the ball up all over the park. Hits per 9 is going to be low too as well, but strikeout and walk rates should be in a good position. So he's either going to give up a lot of hits and homers or be striking guys out. And then at third base here, Pablo Vesquez. Good contact hitter. I just would love to get power out of my third baseman is my only problem with him. But did move up to number 4 on our board, 85 to 95 with his potential range, and could be a very solid contact vision guy on day 1. So we're going to kind of broaden our reins here, scouting by position now, going starting pitchers in Central, left fielders internationally, and discovering a couple more infielders if possible. So while that goes in scouts for a little bit, we'll go ahead and take a break from the scouting and get more into our actual major league club, which at this point is 27-20. And they're not the only ones that have good starters. Jose Serrano, don't forget, is up at the major league level, 26 years old. So he's also going to be a key part of the future. But we also have some bats up here that we have yet to focus on. Logan O'Hop being one of them, our starting catcher. Batting .273 so far this season. He's very young. And one of the reasons why I'm not looking at catcher in this draft is because I feel like we can trust him to go ahead and lead this team into the future and at least be around for a good minute. Now, so far this season, he is batting .273. In the 5th spot, enjoying a very good seat there behind Soler and Mike Trout. And maybe it's led him to be a little bit better and allow the people behind him to be good too, as well as Moncada's hitting over 300. Taylor Ward, not with a good average, but has a good amount of RBIs because of the 2 in front of him here. As we go to get a little blooper out to right field, as that will go to be gloved in completely. But yeah, definitely want to keep him as a key centerpiece for us to play catcher. You see a lot of runs coming in here. A lot of those solo home runs. But we definitely want to let Logan come in and have a chance to earn that catcher role, keep increasing in that catcher role, and really kind of solidify it. If I had to guess what would be good numbers for him, give me 270, anywhere between 260 to 280. Give me 15 plus on home runs, and just give me solid defense. Give me somebody that can hit bottom of the order. I can rely on for a little bit of power. The average isn't going to be, too far bad, and give me great defense. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to see way more power from my catcher. I'd love to have a guy that hits, 20, 30, 40 plus home runs. But Mike Trout's going to be doing that for a little bit. I think Soler can do that for a little bit longer. And there's obviously free agency, too, where I can sign other people. I would definitely want at least one outfielder with power. I would love for my first and third baseman to have power if possible. But we'll have to see how free agency shakes out and how these draft picks come in. Because as you see, the third basemen are struggling right now with that power. We get out of the game here. Hop, multi-hit game here, 2 for 4. So he had a great game on his side. Ward had a home run. Trout, Soler, Nolan, Zach. 5 home runs as a team here today. Led to 8 runs. But still, we just couldn't do enough. Ben Joyce, Jose Quijada, once again blowing and losing the games for us. So you will see a repetitive nature with what names that you see. And that actually leads into game 2 here, as Nolan had a great game last game. 3 for 4, scored 3 times. So every time he was on base, he was scoring. And this led to his 341 average, which is why we're going to spotlight him today, as he's our start young first baseman prospect that we want to look at. Kind of how I said earlier that I would love for him to have power, but he doesn't. It's okay, because he has great contact, great vision, and the defense is at least serviceable for a first baseman. So it could be a DH option, but if anything, DH should probably have the most power. If you're going to DH somebody just not only play in the field, your power just better be like that. We see he's over getting on his first at bat, loading the bases up here for Logan. 278 on the season after the day we had yesterday, and he flies this one out to right field, and he's going to go ahead and get 1 RBI, but we're coming around with the second one. Slide will come in just behind the tag. 2 RBI base hit for Logan, adding on to the phenomenal day he had the day before. And Nolan here going top of the 6th here. We did walk to get on base last time, so no hits yet, but there's the first one of the games that one gets into the outfield. Can't have a game spotlighting a player without being able to get a hit. So Mike Trout here, 2 for 3 on the day, grounds this one over to the other side. Throw goes off the dive. Great double play ball there, but they're not going to get Trout at first. He still got the speed boost. Top of the 7th here, we're up 8-2 now. Runners at first and second here for Nolan. Can he at least get a multi-hit game? As that's going to be a base hit up the middle for a solid hit. Runner's going to go ahead and come around to the plate and make that 9-2 Angels. And unlike yesterday, we were letting the Athletics come back. It looks like we're trying to put this game away as Trout flies this one out to left field. It will be shallow, though, and gloved in by the left fielder. But that'll basically just about do it, man. The Angels go ahead and walk away here with a victory against the Athletics. When are they going to get a new city name? Just stop me. Just call it the Athletics. That's what I need to see. I need them to go ahead and get a city. Go ahead and just claim one. Any city. So you get the San Francisco Athletics for all I care. Multi-hit days for almost the entire lineup. Only 3 people did not. Joe Adele actually going hitless here today, which is kind of concerning. Average has been dropping a lot since the season started. Yohan Mercado hits his 7th home run. Bullpen actually holds up, and you don't see the 2 names that we won't speak of coming out of the bullpen. And we actually hold a lead. Not saying it's a coincidence. I'm just saying it's kind of suspicious. As after that game, I came and looked at our lineup here, and Kevin Newman, who is filling in for injured Refringo, has been kind of slumping at the top of the lineup here recently. And Zach Neto actually has been doing good, especially with his on base. So I went in and flipped him up. Joe Adele here, I wanted to take a look at his concerns. And he actually has not had a hit in his last 6 games. So he's 0 for the past 6 games, a 182 average in his last 10. He's really on a cold streak, but still seeing a solid boost right now up to a 76. So for those reasons, I'm going to leave him alone and just kind of let him just hit at the bottom of the order so he can figure it out and then move him up later if he can. Now here, I wanted to just take a look. One thing we were doing and seeing a lot of was blown games here by Quijada. So I wanted to see if we can go ahead and get him a situation here to be clutch. And the first thing he does is come in and gets a double play. Now we only have a 1-run lead here. We're up 4-3 against the Guardians. And he gets the double play that he needs to go ahead and get the runner off the base pass. Bottom of the 8th, 2-2 count here to Gabriel. As he watches that 4-seamer upstairs. Brian Rocchio is in the on-deck circle. And he will actually come up to bat instead as that pitch goes into the dirt. Now, the one thing I didn't notice with Quijada is the fact that, yeah, his control is a little bit off. Mostly for his breaking pitches. The 4-seamer was there, but everything else, you kind of just had to pray for. The break is great on the slider when you get it to work, but sometimes those chases aren't always going to bail you out like that. And then we were in Kenley Jensen here as I did simulate for it, and they brought me right back into another scenario here with the runner at first base. We're trying to close this out with our closer. And Lane Thomas is actually trying to bunt the run over here with the sacrifice bunt. He gets it down. It goes over to the first baseman. Schneel is not able to get anybody here. So he tried to run back and he was not able to do so. The pitcher stopped as well. Thought we'd at least be able to get the runner at first, but now it's first and second off of a sacrifice bunt, not even a suicide bunt. As we bring up Jose Ramirez here for the Guardians. First and second, 0-2 count here. Chopped on the ground. Newman's going to go ahead and make the play here. This time we're going to get one. Throw over to first base will not be in time. So the double play is still in effect here. If we can get another ball on the ground, we might be able to still walk out of here with the dub. Noel, though, is going to stand between us and that possibility. Is the first thing he does is ground right to Nolan. Over to Neto. Over to first base. And not Nolan, my fault. That was Kevin to get that thing started up for us. Nolan finishing it up. And we're going to jump right back down to the minors, right? Because we still are not done with all of our prospects. 23-year-old, C potential, 63 overall, Kyron Paris. Numbers are just kind of average all the way across the board, even his defense. So I wanted to get in some games with him as he's been at the pros before. Hasn't really worked out, but he's been killing it at AAA recently. Batting .379 with a .431 on base, 3 home runs and 56 at-bats. And the problem I kept running into is they kept replacing him defensively. I don't know if you guys ever noticed that. So we, for whatever reason, we had him in right field playing every day because his secondary position, although his main position, shortstop, secondary, second base, and right field. So they had him playing as the starting right fielder. Well, every time I jumped into a game to try to player lock him, the very first thing that would happen when we went to defense is they'd make a defensive substitution to get him out. So to switch that, I put him at his original position at shortstop and put somebody else in right field. And that's actually why his at-bat count is low. He's only has 56 at-bats despite being a starter all season because it seems like they might be taking him out as soon as every game starts. So we're finally able to get him into a game here where they didn't take him out for a defensive substitution. And the second thing that he does here is chop one right back up the middle, this time showing the speed as he's able to get there into first base. And he does have 80 speed going up that baseline, so the slow roller was able to go ahead and get him in. And then Christian Moore right behind him as that ball's going to be in the dirt. We're going to go ahead and slide in safely to second base. And honestly, I got to say that they worked pretty well here together. Christian Moore at second and Kyron here at shortstop. Now, there becomes a little log jam, of course, at the big league level. We have Neto at shortstop already. You know, we're looking for a third baseman right now. Currently, look at the flip there and look at the play for the double. Glove flip, barehanded flip over to first. Them two have amazing chemistry, it looks like. But yeah, obviously we can clear out some room for Christian Moore to come up and possibly take over a starting role. But where does Kyron Paris go then? Is he a backup shortstop at the big league level? Does he have a role in his team at the big league level? Does Neto maybe get traded as we get a fly ball out here to left field by Moore going deep back near the wall and it hits off the upper range of the scoreboard? I think that hit up there by where the inning count is, up there by the 4. So that's his 6th home run of the season, bringing around Kyron around the plate, and that's going to be a 2-run shot to increase the lead. But yeah, what is Kyron's role on this team? Is it even with this team or is it as trade bait? I don't know, but what I do know is today he is 2 for 3, 2 base hits, and he's looked strong all day here with the 0-2 count. We're going to ground this one onto the outfield. That'll get past the second baseman with a terrible reaction here. So the slow roller leads him to the warning track here. We're going to hold on to the button just a little bit too long as we round second, try to get back, and it won't work. I just held that button a little bit too long there, and he started to go around second base to third, and then before I could get back, got taken care of. But we ended up getting the win here, of course. With the 2-run home run, we went 5-1, and that's kind of a little bit of our last looks there at the minor leagues before we get to the draft. Now, going back up to the pros here. Of course, we want to take a look at some more critical situations here as we're getting through a couple more weeks of scouting. It's Kenley Jensen here with a 6-3 game. He's leading, but he's 30 pitches into this point already. So he's been in the game for a good minute, enough to be almost tired here as Mayo is trying to bring Baltimore back in. Is this kind of a new uniform or something? I don't remember them being like all blacked out like this. It doesn't even say Orioles on the thing. I don't know if this is a glitch or if this actually is a uniform set. If it's a uniform set, it looks pretty dope. And it might have led them to get a base hit into the outfield, scoring not only 1 but 2, as Baltimore is now within 1 run. We still only need 1 out though to get out of this, but they had nobody warm up in the bullpen, so everybody's cold. We only have 2 arms left actually that are fresh, so we've kind of emptied out the bullpen completely, and we really just need Jensen to get 1 more out here. Chopper on the ground, that'll be foul. We lucky. The Warriors are lucky. I wish that one had stayed fair so we could have got it. Adley Rutschman, though, with a 2-1 count now here, swinging at the cutter in on the hands, getting him to kind of chase that one, trying to go right back to it, this time with a slider for more break. Doesn't offer at it. And with the full count here, runners are off with the pitch. They line this one into the outfield. Joe Adell's going to have to make a play, but one run's going to score easy. The second run was off with the pitch, so he's going to try to go from first to home, and he will get in there. But well before the throw, the Orioles bounce back down 3 to go ahead and take this ball game here from the Los Angeles Angels. Adley Rutschman there. I mean, that was just great hitting late. That was a ball up in the zone, put just enough on it to land it right out there in the outfield. So Kyle Hendricks, great start, 5 innings, 1 earned, only 1 strikeout, which is concerning. But the bullpen, and look who is Ben Joyce. He did good today, but when he's in the game, we just have a way of not allowing runs to get across. That was 4 runs that were unearned too as well. So that all was because of an error. Now we come up with our next game here. Hans Kraus, he's got the bases loaded. Similar situation here, up 4-1, 2 outs. So all we need is 1 more, and he's actually fresh in the game. So we just put him in the game to go ahead and try to get this 1 out save. That's all we need here is Yanner Diaz to go ahead and chop this on the ground for us, swing and miss for us, pop it up. Anything that you want to do that's not in some grass, I'm okay with. 1-2 pitch here from Hans. Swing and a miss at the slider, and the Angels will bounce back for a W here. Oh no, put that hat back on, big fella. Hold on, now you got that horseshoe look on your head. Put that back. Go ahead and put that back on and cover that, or go get a patch or something. My GM or my manager out there looking kind of balding like King Neptune. But some home runs here today. Joe Adell hits home run number 13. Logan hits home run number 9. Adell is up to 32 RBI. So, despite the average being low at 226, the power is still there at least. And this time around, the 2 main guys didn't really do much, and we actually held on to that 1-run lead. So I'm proud of the bullpen there for showing off some stuff. And I know I said we were done with the minors, but we didn't get to look at here George Classic because he was actually injured, just coming off injury. And he's 67 overall, 23 years old, C potential player. And I wanted to see what he could do. I mean, his starts before he got hurt, 4 starts, great little average there. And I actually looked at his potential. He's a 77 overall, which if you look at the rest of the roster actually right now, that would put him at the 3rd best pitcher if he was able to hit his potential tomorrow. He's already the 3rd best pitcher on the roster. So definitely want to get a look possibly at him next episode to see what he can do. And if he plays good enough throughout his next couple starts, because he's at AA right now, if you can give me 1 or 2 good starts after the injury, we might see him at AAA here to start out the end of the season, or around September call-up time when people can go up without, because there's going to be 2 extra spots open. So now looking at the scouting here one more time, Jimmy Lease was somebody that we looked at because he had a huge jump up on the board from 97 to 45 or 46 at 3rd base. So we're taking a look at him as well. And some more starting pitching prospects here. As you can see, Douglas Ellison there. I mean, he just looked like a very good move up potential prospect. Anytime you see those big jumps in MLB board and your personal board, you want to look at those players a little bit more closely here. So Douglas, you see from non-ranked to 27, I got to know why. So we're going to be heavy focused on him. And same thing here for Harvey Pennington from 51 to 45, but everything about him is blue except for his power. So that could be an outfielder piece that we can add in. Only 70 to 84 in his potential range, but hopefully with the scouting, it unlocks a little bit more. And we're going to focus here on relief pitchers internationally just to get some relief options late in the draft. But we're going to come back out here to close out the rest of the month here. We beat the Nationals 9-8, finishing off the month of June, getting into July with a record of 48 and 35. So next time out, we will go ahead and finish up, of course, the last, I think, like week or 2 here that we have of scouting left. Only 11 days left to the draft. So I'll be around the Arizona series. So we'll basically be doing critical situations until we get to it. And drafting next episode, going through All-Star Weekend and trying to get to basically September call-up time. But we actually do have a good record here. As we're 3.5 games up in the wild card as the 2 seed. We might slow this season down. Don't be surprised if we do, if it takes us a couple more episodes to get through the season, because although the rebuild is still going on and I don't think we're ready to win a World Series, we got to focus in on that postseason. And it looks like we could be a part of it. So look out for maybe some George Classen games. You see here in his first start back, he went 7 innings, gave up no runs. So he's looking like a very strong candidate to move up from AA to AAA. He's the best pitcher there. And in comparison to like Cade and Dana, I mean, he's killing it in AAA too as well. Some of his most recent games, though, have been kind of sloppy here. So that could be a potential move up. Just wanted to take a quick look at the stats here before we get out of here, though. So Mike Trout leading the team in home runs with 25, even though he's out for a couple more weeks. Jorge Soler is out 20, Joe Adell with 14, Mike Trout's leading in RBIs with 52, and Soler right behind him with 49. And then stolen bases here, Neto has 12. Kevin Newman, even in his short time starting out, at 15, despite only having 57 speed. Luis Refringo has the highest average with Travis Yarnt right behind him. On base, kind of the same thing too, as well as you see Nolan there, 333, 408 on base. He's going to do numbers for him actually improving. WAR, Zach Neto is at a 2.7, our young shortstop here. -3 to his contact left with how he's performing this season, but everything else is going in a good positive direction. Nolan seeing +5 boost to his contact right, +3 to his contact left with a 2.6 WAR. Of course, Trout 2.4, 2 for Soler. ISO numbers here, Mike Trout's hitting 359 ISO. Remember, that is just isolated powers. That's just, I think, home runs and doubles maybe. But I hear 200 plus is actually above a league average. So 359, it's crazy. Jansen here with 20 saves and 24 opportunities there for us. So not too many blown saves, thankfully. Looking at our starters here, 2 guys here almost closing in on 100 strikeouts apiece. As we're closing in on the All-Star break, they'll probably hit it before the All-Star break. ERAs only have a couple guys here above 4. Whips, only 2 guys above 1.75. I love looking at the quality start metrics here. 12 of 17 for UC, 7 for 17 for Jose, 5 for 15 for Kyle. And I think that's kind of swayed because, of course, guys aren't going deep into games. So although they might have a shutout or only 1 run given up, they're not going deep enough to qualify for a quality start. So I think that number could be higher for some of our starters. Not giving up too many home runs as a team. And then pitching wars, UC's at a 2.5. Sucks that he's 33 years old, so he probably won't be on the team much longer. But also Jose Serrano here, 26, has plenty of time to still grow into his rating. He's gotten up to an 80 overall despite being C potential. So C could have a wider range than I think. And then our strikeout per 9, we got a couple guys here, double digits, 9, 8 range. FIP numbers, only about 5 guys here over 4, or really 5 guys here under 4 is what I meant to say. It's Serrano, Hendricks, and UC, 3 starting pitchers, thankfully at least, and then 1 reliever, 1 closer. Which, surprisingly enough, the run reliever is Ben Joyce. You know, we see him struggle a lot. But that'll basically be kind of where we end the episode here today, man. We got, like I said, through a lot of content here, talked a lot about our prospects and future plans for them. I think this draft is going to be big for drafting a starting pitcher. Definitely want to hit left field and get a outfielder. I'm not so locked in on it being, you know, specifically right or left or center. Just a outfielder. And then kind of filling in with the other 3 spots. BPA, best player available. So let me know what you guys think, man. Next time out, we will definitely, like I said, go through probably some critical situations, but take a really good deep dive, showing you guys the prospects ahead of the draft and then getting into the draft. But from what you guys have seen so far, who are some of your favorite prospects? Who are somebody that you would hope that we draft? And who do you think we should take with that early first pick? You know, we have it at number 4, I believe, or number 2. Who do you guys think should be that number 2 overall selection? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in the next video. It's me, your boy SGG, aka the King of Games, aka GM Smooth. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.